You know what I am going to sing, though? I'm going to sing the Song of My People. Bet you didn't know that was the Song of My People. It is now. All right, next match. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have NightMare. And his opponent in the upper left, the Red Terran, GuMiho. The Towel Terran. Is NightMare not currently on a team? I was like, man, I can't remember what team NightMare's on. I realized. Couldn't remember that. GuMiho is on Cloud 9. Of course, I do remember that one. But it looks like NightMare might have left the team at the start of the year. So I guess his contract was up January 1st. They did not renew, so NightMare is no longer on Matcherino Esports. It's a bit unfortunate. NightMare is now a teamless Protoss. Here up against GuMiho in the round of 16. That's a tough match. It's a tough draw for NightMare. GuMiho is quite strong. That being said, GuMiho has a bit of a weakness against Protoss. At least in, like, online cups, weeklies, stuff like this. I feel like GuMiho struggles against Protoss in that scenario. So, NightMare, I think, has a better chance here against GuMiho than he does against a number of the other players in this bracket, just by virtue of being in the right matchup. But it is still going to be tough. GuMiho is a very strong player. He's going to come check things out with his Reaper, see what's going on. He is going to see that there's too many probes on this gas. NightMare is actually just over-mining this gas for no reason. Okay, finally, the 2 probes get sent down to the low ground. Go mine some minerals. No, he's going to lose his gas. No, NightMare. Oh, that gas is now gone forever. Gas is gone into the ether. Never to be seen again. Yeah, it's true. The Song of My People definitely should have been chicken noises, but again, it is late. I am tired, and my brain's just not working that fast. So I literally just made random noises for the Song of My People. GuMiho, there are 2 Adepts getting into your base. That is a problem. This Widowmine is going to burrow, and the Adepts are just going to do that cool thing where they walk away. Now the 2 Reapers will come back. One of the Adepts died very quickly. Was already very damaged, so not a ton of damage here. As the Marines finish that guy off. Only 1 SCV goes down. Okay, it felt really scary, but I did kind of forget that SCVs take 3 hits from Adepts, not 2. So the SCVs are quite a bit safer against Adepts than things like probes or drones. And what looked incredibly scary for a moment there, as those Adepts got in, turned out to really not be that scary at all for GuMiho, and he lost a little bit of mining time, but he kills both of those Adepts. And now he's going to head across the map. He's got this cheeky medevac in it, and 2 Widow Mines and 4 Marines inside. As well as the Cyclone and the Reapers out front. They're going to try to poke and prod at this, maybe take this pylon down if they want to. Or at the very least, they're going to force these Stalkers back out here. That Cyclone is not long for this world, and down it goes. But that means the main base is a little more exposed. However, some good positioning here from these buildings, and NightMare is going to stop these Marines from really doing too much. The Widowmine is going to kill the Adept, and that is it. 4 Marines get picked up. The Widowmine gets picked up, but Blink is done. Oh, that medevac! Oh my god, it gets out of there. 14 hit points. Just barely escapes. NightMare successfully doesn't really take much damage. He lost a pylon and another Adept. I think maybe 1 extra probe. That could have been a scouting probe, though. He might not have even lost that there. GuMiho, fortunately, escapes with most of everything alive. Very close to losing it all. But GuMiho's going to get back home. He knows it's blink from his opponent. He's got a siege tank. He's got a bunker finishing up. And NightMare not going to be able to find much damage on the ground. I think he has a prism out, so he could try to sneak into the main. The Cyclone has died, so GuMiho's going to have to just defend this with the Marines and the tanks he has. NightMare, though, not going to overcommit. He is just going to grab a Nexus behind this and try to get some annoying damage done to his opponent. A couple of SCVs already going down. It looks like a cancel on this gas is going to have to happen. Oh, actually, the SCV is there to repair, and the tank is going to move closer. But that means in the main base, GuMiho is probably not paying attention to the fact that there's 4 stalkers in the back of his mineral line, getting even more damage done. These ones will all escape successfully. Even though the gas stays alive, they've gotten some good damage done. And the prism will hold on. Oh, I didn't get out of there. NightMare more focused back on the other side of the map where something happened. Livy B, thank you so much for the massive raid. I hope you had a lovely stream. We're on a 2-minute delay here, so that's why the late alert. Oh, it was an auto turret. That's what happened down here. I was like, what? There's just a carcass of something behind the mineral line. Cheeky Raven getting some probe damage. NightMare is going to recall this out of there. Let's take a look at what's gotten lost so far. Honestly, overall, extremely even trades here. Just a handful of units on either side. A few more SCVs than probes, but GuMiho, as ever, very good at building SCVs. His worker production is actually really strong. So even though he's lost 4 more workers than his opponent, who should already be ahead in workers as the Protoss, GuMiho's really not behind by much at all. It's just a few workers down. Now NightMare, though, he's going for the Colossus drop. He's trying to avoid these tanks and just get some hits off on the Marines, but instead we'll just do a little damage to this whole army. Auto turret comes back in, but NightMare with a very fast response. Not going to take any more probe damage here, just a little bit of lost mining time. Ooh, the tanks out front to fight against that Colossus, getting taken advantage of there by the Stalkers. One goes down, another one gets very low, and GuMiho's little push here is feeling weaker and weaker by the moment. That being said, he's got a 3rd base, so that's pretty cool. And that's going to make this feel a lot better for him. I think we have a pretty solid macro game on our hands. It looks like GuMiho does still want to push. He's got some reinforcements joining up. In fact, 2 full medevacs worth of units are boosting in. Those could join up with this. They could also try to be sneaky and get into the main base. He has seen that there's not any spotting over here. I don't think NightMare realizes where the army is. He doesn't have a ton of vision out on the map. Auto turrets coming back in. The Zealot has found a bit of an army here, but NightMare is just going for the full counterattack. He is going to get on top of this 3rd base. And actually, this 3rd base is in some trouble. A lot of Zealots here. GuMiho's got to be a little careful. He is going to be able to repair this next, or the command center up and keep it safe. NightMare is going to drop some Zealots in the main base instead, but here's that double drop we were talking about earlier. And NightMare, he's not focused. This SimCity is actually really hurting him here. One of the pylons goes down, powering 2 gates. These Zealots are now coming in here. The Widow Mine going to help out, though. There's actually 2 Widow Mines helping out against the Zealots. Super Shield Battery turns on at the same time on the other side of the map. NightMare is pushing up this cliff with the Colossi and the Blink Stalkers. The Warp Prism here to support as well. He's pushed the 3rd over to the other side, and now he's going to start moving that way. The tanks left on their own get some good shots off, but then they will go down. GuMiho is trying to wait. He's got +1 armor about to finish. NightMare's going to try to push into this defensive location, but I don't like that choice necessarily. Anti-armor missile goes down. That might allow GuMiho to take a better fight here. It looks like this drop in the main has been cleaned up, so NightMare can focus his full attention out here. Army supplies are very, very similar right now. Oh, GuMiho, he wants to go forward. He doesn't have a lot of healing, though. Look how low this army is. The Colossi are mincing up this bio. They're getting lifted up by the Prism. They're all staying alive. And I think that is just going to be too much here. NightMare brings over a bunch of stalkers. Where do they even come from? GG. GuMiho forced to tap out there as NightMare takes that game. It felt a little bit spicy there for a minute, as GuMiho was on the other side of the map with a couple of drops. Had a lot of potential there to get damage done. But NightMare ended up cleaning it up, just trading some units for units. And on the other side of the map, that attack hit at the perfect time when GuMiho was really not prepared. He was out of position to defend his third. And it just, it meant he was not mining as much. But also it meant that NightMare had that really nice position on the cliff leading up into the main base of GuMiho. Very difficult for GuMiho to deal with it. So difficult, in fact, that he really couldn't deal with it. NightMare got a bunch of damage done. The Raven in the back of the mineral line did get a lot of damage done for sure, but it didn't end up getting a lot of kills. I really think it only got, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 6 kills. After all that, I think better value in that situation might have been shutting down Colossi, right? Imagine if there's enough energy to shut down 2 of the Colossi. That could have been huge in one of those fights. Although I don't think he got the upgrade, so might not have mattered anyways. But let's see if game number 2 continues this trend, or maybe we can get ourselves a cheeky game 3 in this series. Spawning in the lower right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the recently teamless NightMare. As we have learned, he is no longer with Matcherino Esports, which is unfortunate. But hopefully we can get him picked up by a team soon. He's a very strong player. He's up 1-0 on one of the strongest Terrans in the world right now. It is Cloud9's GuMiho, who's had a very solid year. And I just love watching him play, man. GuMiho is one of my favorites. One of my favorites. But he has had a good year, and speaking of, players who went, did the military service, came back, had some struggles upon coming back. GuMiho, he didn't come back looking like he was going to take the world by storm. Most players don't. I think Beyond came back looking very strong. Hero rose up very quickly. I remember, the first couple of weeklies he played, it was a little rough. And then all of a sudden, he was, a contender for the semis, and then all of a sudden he was just winning them all again. It's like, oh yeah, okay, Hero's back. Beyond was kind of similar, whereas it felt like Beyond played a lot while he was doing his military service, laddered and stuff. He came back feeling only slightly weaker than when he left, almost the same level. He clearly knew the meta very well, was still just as fast. But for the most part, I think a lot of the players, they don't get as much practice as they had previously, and maybe struggle to get good practice when they're tired after work. Very, very relatable. And we were talking about Stats earlier, who did fall to NightMare. Hoping we can get Stats back to that level we know he can be at. But some other players are heading towards their military service soon. In fact, he's not Korean, but Cyril has military service, mandatory military he has to do in Finland. Although I believe his is will be a lot less of an effect on his StarCraft play, because just of the nature of the Korean mandatory military service, players can't make money while they're doing it. They can't make money outside of the military while they're doing their service. I do not think that is a rule for Finland military service, so it shouldn't affect them too much. There's a couple other players, though. Who's it? Cure and Dark are both heading towards their military service. But I feel like we've seen so many players go through that and come back and still be able to compete It takes a little bit of time usually, but Ryung has been kind of on a tear lately. He's had some really, really good results. And he's not only like a military service guy, he did his military service like years ago, dude. Ryung's peak was in like 2012. Man, if he can come back, anybody can come back. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's talk about this game a little bit, since NightMare is a proxied gateway on the other side of the map. He's warping in a bunch of adepts. He's going to come upon this Cyclone here, which is going to spot everything. There is no bunker yet, and this is a big problem for GuMiho, as these adepts want to come in and play. They have decided not to. They're going to pick off that Reaper and then back out. They can keep shading forward. NightMare now warping in Stalkers. He is going to keep this pressure on. GuMiho starts up a siege tank. He's got a Liberator popping out. That Liberator might need to stay at home. I hope GuMiho realizes how dire of a situation this is. This is not just some adepts poking and prodding. There's a bunch of Stalkers coming. He's going to send the Liberator out. Ooh, that's not going to see the gateway, just barely. The Liberator could end up being good, could get some big kills, but GuMiho needs to focus on defending back at home, and I feel like this is a tough position to be in. Siege tank is nearly out. A high ground siege tank here could be massive. I gotta say, I was expecting NightMare to really push in a lot harder than this, and right now he is still just kind of testing the waters, sending those shades in. This is gonna give the Liberator an opportunity to get some damage on the other side of the map. NightMare has not realized it is sieged up just yet until he gets this alert of the kills. It's gonna get a couple of kills. Could just back out. It's forcing Warpins back at home. Forcing probes off the line. I think GuMiho's got to be pretty happy with that. And these adepts just haven't gotten anything done. I thought for sure NightMare was going to try to bust this bunker, but he does not. Now GuMiho has a bunch more Marines out. He's got a siege tank out. He's going to push these away again, but NightMare has a Prism, and he's going to dive into the main base where there is really nothing to defend these SCVs. And already 3 SCVs going down. It's going to be 4. Oh, no, the SCVs turn around to fight. Oh, my God. GuMiho's just moving to the other side of the map. He does not care at all, dude. 7 SCVs now have gone down. And GuMiho's just going for it. I don't think NightMare realizes this is like not necessarily 2-base all in, but very committed 2-base play. He is going to have to work hard to defend this. He's got Storm and Charge on the way. Those can be extremely helpful against this kind of an army. But he needs to buy time. He needs to wait. He needs to be very careful in the meantime. He's got this Prism on the other side of the map, still doing damage, still being annoying here, as 9 SCVs now have gone down. But GuMiho forces a cancel on the 3rd. And he's just going to stim forward. He sees all these Zealots here. Charge is done. The tank's going to get sieged up. Super Shield Battery turns on. But this is a lot of DPS coming out of GuMiho. That being said, he doesn't really have any healing. There's 1 medevac here. So a second stim is going to be so painful. But GuMiho is going to go for it. He wants the extra DPS. He's going to move forward again, fighting against these Zealots. But the Stalkers are really starting to pick through these Marines. GuMiho lifting up and landing, trying to get the kills on the Stalkers. The medevac goes down. The last few Marines are going to fall. And with that, this tank will fall as well. GuMiho is reinforcing, but he's got no healing for this. So any stim is so painful. And this pressure from GuMiho, it feels so strong in some ways, and then all of a sudden it just gets swept up by NightMare. Charge finishing at the perfect time. He was forced to cancel his 3rd, so GuMiho, like, kind of weirdly could just go home. They're on the same worker count. He's got a 3rd base started up in his main. Some Zealots are trying to, I guess, intercept this or maybe just go harass, but I actually don't hate this for GuMiho because he forced NightMare to cancel the 3rd. NightMare didn't have a cheeky one up here started or anything. And then they just kind of traded some units back and forth. Slightly better trade there for GuMiho. I think this is a good position for GuMiho to be in. I love the turret as well. This is the like, DTs could be good here turret. It doesn't quite see the observer though, which might be its other purpose. And NightMare does have Storm. Remember that he has Storm. There's a Warp Prism somewhere. I wouldn't hate to see him try to do a Storm drop. This storm drop here could be so sick. Like, there's no turret back here. Imagine just the Warp Prism pops in, drops the 2 High Templar. Boom, boom. Could be beautiful. We've seen NightMare go for it before. It looks like he's just going to hold the 4 High Templar in here and try to use them against the army. NightMare very brazenly moving out with an extremely small ground army against 4 full medevacs of bio. I know Storm is good, but I don't think it's that good where this army can actually take a fight right now. I think NightMare needs to be a little bit careful with what he goes for. God, there's just so little out here. It's 2 Stalkers, 3 Zealots, and 2 Immortals. But the storms, some beautiful storms going down here. Keeping GuMiho zoned back. It's exactly what NightMare was hoping to do. The smaller army, but the more technical army. In some ways, the scarier army. I would be terrified if a psionic storm came down on my face. And to be fair, I would be terrified of a Marauder too. Just like a 12-foot tall monstrosity that shoots rockets out of its arms. Honestly, I'd be scared of an SCV. SCVs are terrifying. Space construction vehicle. If an SCV like showed up in my apartment right now, I would die. I would just be dead. That little drill would come at me, be like 5 damage. Guys, I have 1 hit point. I am a human. I do not have 5 hit points. Ooh, 1 Widowmine gonna get burrowed. Gets 5 kills. GuMiho sneaking in with the Widowmine drop, and he gets 1. Successfully burrowed. At the same time, GuMiho pushing back what looks like a cheeky Warp Prism that was out on the map. I don't know how many High Templar actually died with that. 3 High Templar died. Looks like 1 of the Prisms died as well. I don't know when that happened. Maybe while this Widowmine drop was going on. I feel like GuMiho's made a couple moves here, killing some of those High Templar. This Prism is very low and actually in danger of going down. NightMare's just going to lose it as GuMiho pushes those Vikings forward. NightMare had like 2 Stalkers there. That is not enough to push those Vikings back. GuMiho's got to be feeling pretty good. That means the High Templar are all on the ground. That makes them very EMP-able. Double Liberator coming out as well here. GuMiho. He's going for all the annoying units. Widowmines, Liberators, Ghosts. He's like, what do the Protosses complain about? That's what I want to build. GuMiho has a cheeky little drop up here, but it looks like it might run into some trouble as these Zealots are out here. At least be able to kill the pylon first, or not. Maybe not. GuMiho instead gonna focus on the Zealots. Just trading. There's little trades happening out on the map here. Both players posturing, but pulling back in the middle, back to their 4 base setups. GuMiho, though, now that I look at it, man, he's up like 15 workers. NightMare's 4th base is a little bit later than his, and GuMiho's just got a better economy. He really has had a better economy for the last 5 minutes. These Liberators coming into play now as well. I don't know why they're sieged up on the exact same position. Whoa, but hold on here. What has happened? I see an EMP has happened. NightMare out there with half of his army. These Colossi are a crucial part of this, as are the High Templar. Even if all they do is draw some EMPs, at least that keeps it off the rest of the army. Zealots running forward. Widowmines are getting trimmed off. GuMiho maybe overextending a little bit as those Colossi do come through. He's going to pull back. GuMiho is up a lot of army supply. He's still up a lot of workers as these Liberators have now killed 6 probes over here. NightMare going to warp in some Stalkers, but I don't think 3 Stalkers is going to be enough. This is why they're sieged up on the same spot, because NightMare is going to try to kill them with Stalkers, and that's not going to work. At the same time, NightMare is pushing in over here, but I feel like GuMiho's defensive position is going to be very strong. Also, these Colossi need to be super careful. Vikings positioned here could be a beautiful move. A beautiful gambit for GuMiho. Oh my god, look at these stalkers try to get in here. It's not working, dude. It's not working. What is this position, actually? This position is crazy. He's starting a Stargate. He literally has to start a Stargate. What is this? How is this possible? Those stalkers just couldn't hit these? Maybe we're going to sneak one forward a little bit now, making it more vulnerable, but allowing him to get even more damage done. Oh my god, this is insane. This one has 7 kills. This has 11. 7-11. Make a wish. I wish for a Slurpee. A giant Slurpee. That sounds so good right now. Actually, can I get one of those, like, Monterey Jack and chicken taquitos, too? Let me get 2 of those. I'll get a hot dog. I think that's good. If I'm in Hawaii, let me get 1 spam musubi. And 1 manapua. Sounds so good right now. You guys have no idea how good that sounds. So I got sidetracked there. These Liberators are doing insane work. And NightMare's just like not even... He's not even trying with the Stalkers anymore. He's got a Void Ray about to pop out. Finally, these Liberators will get taken down after getting 19 kills. That's both probes and Stalkers, for the record. Oh, they get a 20th. Are they going to get out of here too? No, get the hell out. Get the hell out of here. That's not fair. Woo. He's got 9 kills. Can it get away? How does GuMiho have this base? Hold on. I'm busy talking about 7-11. GuMiho has just skyrocketed in base count. NightMare does have a 5th base as well. But GuMiho, he's about to have 6. But here's my big problem for GuMiho. It seems like he's just scared of taking a fight in any of these big engagements. Wow, look at how close that observer is to being seen. Any of these big engagements have not really gone super well for GuMiho. And this is, I think, GuMiho's big problem in this matchup. Now, we'll see if he can get a good one here. But I feel like if it's Death Ball versus Giant Bio Army, so often I see GuMiho struggle in those fights. If he's able to land some big EMPs, trims off a Stalker, he's kind of trading back and forth again. The big EMPs could be a key here. But we see NightMare is not, he's not overcommitting to anything. Instead, he's building Tempest back at home. He's trying to get ramped up for that late game, and we are truly entering late game here. I wouldn't hate to see Blink DTs out of NightMare either, although his economy wasn't great for a long time. It's quite good now. He is getting his own 6th base up. But, ooh, I like these. I love the High Templar just hanging out around the map. Trying to be annoying. These ones do not have detection, though. But wait, there's a cannon. All right, nice. Sick work. GuMiho trying to poke and prod. NightMare trying to poke and prod. Neither player really getting any damage done. But yes, Blink DTs I think would be quite good. We got Tectonic Destabilizers on the way, which is the Tempest upgrade to help them do extra damage against buildings. Specifically, though, not flying buildings. I don't think they do extra damage against flying buildings. But the Tempests are here to help against the Liberators. I feel like this is not a game state that I see all that often anymore. So this is a very interesting little back and forth here. GuMiho is going to move forward, sees those Tempests, and decides to back up, losing a couple of Liberators to do so. NightMare taking this opportunity to kill a turret, move out a little bit, just clear a little area, clear a little space on the map. It's going to allow him to get this 6th base up, no problem, as both players are banking. Now, there is one thing separating these armies at the moment, which is upgrades. GuMiho is 3-3. NightMare is on +2 attack and +1 armor, and I think that is a huge mistake here for NightMare. He is just missing a ton of upgrades. He's got +3 attack on the way, but no extra armor. He's got no shields, which I know the EMPs take off a lot of the shields, right? But like, and he's got air units too. I feel like shields could be quite good here. He is getting that Dark Shrine. But now GuMiho, he's going to find this 7th base that's being attempted. He's going to force a cancel on that. Don't really have anything here for NightMare, so these units could just continue on. There is a High Templar. There are a few High Templar, actually. Oh my god, but there's a nuke! Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. At the same time, 12 probes did go down. I think that was over here, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. But in comes the nuke. Gets a couple of probe kills, kills a couple of pylons, and it might allow this army to move forward a little bit more. Some zealots have been warped in, but they have been EMP'd, and the Dark Shrine that was just built is going to go down, as have those 13 probes and a lot of these High Templar. GuMiho is going to focus his base down. He will get that Nexus, and I don't think there's detection. Oh, there is detection. The Ghost is going down. On the other side of the map, though, NightMare has finally pushed forward. His SCVs all got in the command center to be safe and then died immediately to NightMare's army. So both players taking down bases. GuMiho does get 2, though, for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. It's a good deal for GuMiho, I tell you. Another nuke on the way. Wouldn't hate to see GuMiho put down a couple more Ghost Academies if he's going to be nuking. Trying to get 2 nukes at once can be really difficult for the Protoss to handle. I love that NightMare is poking forward with these Tempests. And the Stalkers, too. The Blink Stalkers can be nice little value getters. Grab a turret, grab a Marine, get out of there. Oracle tagging. These are very complex armies to maneuver. Especially if you have counterattacks happening, trying to deal with nukes at your bases or Zealot run-bys. GuMiho pretty heavy on the Liberators here. Wow, do High Templar get 1 shot? That's crazy. I think they get 2 shots. Liberators all get sieged up. NightMare has to wait for his Tempest to get here. And as these Liberators have zoned everything out, the Bio Army is just going to shred everything at this base, including the base itself. And while the Liberators will die for this, is this worth it for GuMiho? Actually quite worried. He's kind of cornered himself here. Now he has to take a fight against NightMare. At the same time, GuMiho has another big chunk of army down here, which means this army, oh my god, it's just getting eaten alive. It's barely killed anything. A couple of Stalkers might have gone down there, but NightMare just took a great fight to the north side. He is going to lose a base, though. And now, suddenly, NightMare is down to 4 bases again. But it's not really 4 bases, is it? This one is half mined out. This one's almost completely mined out. Just a couple minerals left. He's basically on 1.5. Maybe we could give him, if we're generous, 2 bases right now. GuMiho, he doesn't even have the ability to saturate all of these mineral patches. He has so many bases. He's even got this one. When did he take this one? How did he do that? I don't know. But he's got a Ghost down here, and he is going to drop a nuke on this base. I don't know if NightMare realizes where that nuke is. The Ghost killed himself with the nuke. A classic move. Oh my god, look at the mule hammer on this base. That is 13 mules. The income of this man right now, it's 4,500 minerals a minute. GuMiho's bank has been completely just destroyed, though. Thanks to some of those bad fights. I mean, he's traded better in total, but yeah, he's had to remake that army very recently from the bad fights up here. But look at how quickly he has just boosted it back up. That is actually so insane. I mean, this base is doing a lot, but he still has all these bases mining some amount. This one's not even mining on the minerals anymore, but there's still a couple thousand there if he needs it. And now he's going to push back out on the map. He finds some disruptors. He's going to get 2 disruptor kills and then EMP this army. NightMare has to pull back. He does have 3 carriers to pull back to, though, and I don't know if GuMiho has recognized that yet. I saw GuMiho looking over here. It looks like he's got a Liberator who's going to try to come in and get some more damage done on this base. The Void Ray nearby, though, might make that not so good. I don't know how Liberators do against Voids. It looks like they're doing okay, these 4. And that's a lot of Liberators over there. NightMare says, okay, I think I have one shot here. He's got the same army supply. He's going to go in. EMPs landing all over the whole army. Some storms zoning some of this army out, but that's the last storm, I think. Another EMP goes down. I think GuMiho has too much. He's going to kill so much of this army at least, but the anti-air is all gone. So now it's just Marauders. Oh, and a bunch of storms come in to finish this army off. GuMiho is going to lose his whole army, but he has killed so much of NightMare's army. And at the same time, I mean, GuMiho has stuff all around the map. NightMare, he's going to try to poke in. He does have to clear these turrets. But by the time he clears any of this, GuMiho is just going to have like 800 Marines out. He's got 6 Vikings at a time being produced. He's not even using these 2 starports right now. It could be 8 very easily. NightMare pokes and prods, but GuMiho, I mean, GuMiho is taking this base, dude. This, what a Chad gamer move. And just with 4 units, he's clearing so much stuff. The gas is even empty. It doesn't even matter, but he scans to see if there's a base here. He sees that there is one. I think GuMiho's got to know. This game is moments away from ending. NightMare's going to push this base away. No, the SCVs. Oh! Ah! Ah! Those poor SCV corpses. It hurts. It hurts my heart. At the same time, this Liberator has sieged up on this base and just got 9 kills. It will go down now. There's something really aesthetically pleasing about a Liberator sieging up directly over a base. It's kind of beautiful. GuMiho is here with the army now. He's going to chase these stalkers into a planetary. They're not going to be long for this world. He is chasing them quite a bit, though. I really think GuMiho just needs to go fight this army. I don't think he realizes that NightMare is actually dead. There's only 1 carrier left. NightMare is honestly not even going to be able to replenish the interceptors for that long. GuMiho was trying to get into battle cruisers. Very unfortunate for us that NightMare is going to kill that base and both of those starports before any BCs come out. Yamato's going to finish without a single BC in the sky. Storms are going down. I'll be honest, guys, it really isn't going to matter. I guess if all of those storms just demolish the army, it might keep NightMare alive for a little bit longer. Jesus. But it's really not going to matter at the end of the day. The Vikings are going to kill everything in the sky, and GuMiho just has too much. GG. Oh, my God. Guys, that was game 2. We are all tied up, and we get to go to a game 3 now. Aren't we lucky? What a game, man. GuMiho and NightMare giving us a banger. Game 2. My jaw's a little sore from that one. Too excited. All right, we're going to hop into this lobby. I'm going to grab some water while we wait for this one to start on Alcyone. I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and hop on in to game number 3. We're all tied up, heading into Alcyone. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner, we have NightMare, the currently unaffiliated player. His opponent in the lower left-hand corner spent a long time without a team. He knows what that feels like, but is now on Cloud 9 as their sole StarCraft 2 player. It is GuMiho. Well, that was a very exciting game. It was actually very passive. It felt like every time one of the players tried to like get in, maybe get something done, there was good defense, and a lot of times they just pulled back. So there wasn't even like a little fight or a little trade. It was just like, oh, no, you're ready. Okay, pulling back. Don't want to waste my units. Don't want to waste my time. But a very solid game between those two players. And I'm glad to see GuMiho able to take a long game against a Protoss. Because really what I've noticed is GuMiho, just in those kind of maxed out fights, I feel like he does struggle a little bit. And I think a big part of it is like right when you get to that maxed out or even like 150 supply, the armies start getting real big. The Protoss army, it gets that like death ball-y feel that can be really tough to engage against. And I think that's usually when GuMiho loses, when I see him playing in a TVP, or he goes for like a 2-base all-in and it just doesn't work. GuMiho is definitely known for going for some cheeky early game shenanigans. And in this case, it's actually going to be double Reaper production with Hellions coming out as well. NightMare is trying to harass with a couple of Adepts, but that is actually not going to work very well for him at all. Although it looks like both the Adepts will get away. The Hellion gets nearly killed, but does stay alive. And NightMare has a shield battery. That bodes well for him, but with 2 more Reapers coming out, these Reapers could absolutely try to jump into the main base. The Adepts are just going to miss this little move here. The Reapers should just be able to kill this. But there are Phoenixes coming out, and that can be very good against these harassment openers. But a second Phoenix needs to come out for sure. This first one is not going to be super helpful all on its own. But there's the second one. That's going to mean 2 lifts immediately. And these 2 Reapers are going to have a really tough time chewing through the shield battery energy. The Hellion, in the meantime, I think tried to get into the natural, but that really didn't work. And so GuMiho's little gambit here ends up not really getting anything done. He kills the 1 Adept. He's killed 1 probe. Maybe he could get the second Adept, but it looks like he's just going to try to run away. Now he's going into a double Cyclone behind this after seeing the Phoenixes coming out. I think that's a very good choice. Oh, GuMiho is trying to move across the map with a drop. That's such a bold move against Phoenix production. Cyclones aren't out yet, and the Phoenixes are here. That means a couple of SCVs could go down. It looks like NightMare, though, he's decided to just go home instead. The Reapers pop in. They're going to target down 2 probes. Might even be able to get something else here. Or at least draw some fire away, draw some focus away from this drop that's trying to come in. Now, the Phoenixes have come home. They're going to deal with these Reapers. The Reapers go to the corner of this base as the drop comes in back here. Now, 4 Marines is not that scary for the Phoenixes. So I feel like these Phoenixes can just lift the tank. And then the ground army kills the Marines. And then the tank shortly thereafter. The tank is going to land. Almost kills the Stalker. Marine wants 1 kill. It's not going to happen. A few probes did go down, 6 in total. I don't know that that was necessarily worth it for GuMiho. He's continuing the pressure over here, but it's just 2 Cyclones and a landed Viking. I don't know about that. I don't know, Kev. It's all going down. Can this Cyclone escape? It's got 2 hit points. I feel like all this early game shenaniganry from GuMiho is really, really not paying off. He's down 900 resources in the trades. He's got a 3rd base finishing up, but I just feel like NightMare is so far ahead right now. In tech especially, we've got more Cyclones coming out of GuMiho, but hold the phone here. NightMare decides to poke in. He lifts up a Cyclone. He kills 3 of them. It's just 1 Cyclone left for GuMiho and the SCVs. Another one does pop out. He just doesn't have much in production even. He's got a Marauder in production. NightMare, he's decided, he's like, I'm just going to keep warping in and bring stuff across the map. Blink is done. I think GuMiho's dead. He just doesn't really have anything. He's way down in army supply. He's pulling the SCVs again. Even though he is down in workers. Ooh, he's got a Cloaked Banshee, though. Okay, you know what? This Cloaked Banshee really coming in clutch right now because there is no detection. But I love what NightMare's doing. He's just running away because he knows this is going to run out of juice soon. SCV is on the line again as 2 of the Cyclones get lifted. There's a few Marines and Marauders. GuMiho tried to tech so much. He had Stim being produced. He had Cloaked Banshees being produced. Cyclones coming out. But he wasn't able to actually get a solid unit set out. Now, it looks like GuMiho is not quite dead. He had just enough production, the 3 barracks finishing up in time to get some bio out, which is going to push this away, at least for now. Trade's still very heavily in favor of NightMare. And NightMare's going to keep trying to pressure here. He knows he's got GuMiho on the ropes. He wants to stop this 3rd from landing and just keep being annoying. But I feel like GuMiho's got a chance. I was really concerned he was just straight up dead, but I think he's got a chance. NightMare, though, wants to minimize that chance as much as possible. He's got Charge finishing up. He's got a 4th base on the way while he's stalling this 3rd. Storm has been started again, so he wants to go for Storm once again. I know his 2nd Banshee was made. There it is. It's heading to the other side of the map. If there's a shield battery, though, this is going to do precisely nothing. And there is. There's one here, too. So, the observer, like, hey, what are you doing in here, bud? Trying to get some damage done? Look at just running. It's just running around. It has, I will say, successfully distracted NightMare. And in fact, NightMare tries to get in with that Warp Prism, and that is not a successful Warp Prism attempt. As the Prism goes down, the 2 Zealots that did drop out go down. And this Banshee's done a great job distracting. Oh my god, is GuMiho going to get away with this? I feel like this Banshee for sure could have just stayed there, and I guess it would have died eventually, but tries to get in. He gets a confirmation scout that the 4th base is up and running, and GuMiho says, all right, I think I just need to go and put some pressure on. But NightMare is like super prepared for this, man. He has 4 High Templar and a Warp Prism. Oh no, this position for GuMiho is so sketchy right now against the Storms. Zealots and Stalkers are here, but I'm really worried about the bad weather for Gumi as the High Templar drop forward in that Prism. Get a couple of nice Storms, morph into an Archon. The Stalkers, in the meantime, pushing all the rest of this back. There's more Storms. Oh, those Storms are so dirty. And GuMiho's little push out here is just getting shut down. Now the Marauders on the top of the ramp doing a great job against the Stalkers as NightMare decides to overextend and give GuMiho a chance to stay in this game. But a massive warp in, and NightMare is just way ahead in the army supply. He's got so many Zealots, even splits against the Widowmine here. GuMiho trying to stay alive, trying to stutter step against these Zealots, but it might just be too much out of NightMare. I will say this is staying a lot closer than I had expected it to. Considering it feels like NightMare's been ahead for a while, I will say GuMiho's got 1-1. NightMare is on 0 upgrades right now. His +1 attack is on the way. NightMare is also trying to tech into double Colossus and Thermal Lance. And I feel like that's not helping his cause here. Oh, but that is a warp in, man. That's so many Zealots trying to make their way into the main. So many SCVs have already gone down to these Zealots. 14 SCVs have been killed. NightMare's just going to recall these guys. The Zealots and the Natural get cleaned up. GuMiho is down 20 workers. Army supply is still very close, but +1 is done for NightMare, and 2-2 was never started for GuMiho. I don't even know if he has an armory. Oh, it looks like he does. So he could start it up, but he's not ahead 2 upgrades anymore. It's just the 1. And NightMare is even going to start closing that gap with the +1 armor on the way. Got 2 more Colossi on the way as well. Thermal Lance is nearly done. He's just a full level of tech ahead of GuMiho. GuMiho's Ghost Academy is done. He doesn't even have a Ghost yet to deal with the High Templar. And NightMare's like, okay, but you also need 8 Vikings or like a few Liberators too, because I have Colossi. Sorry. Sorry I didn't let you know. And NightMare is just, he's so far ahead right now. Not necessarily in every regard, but in the really important ones, like tech and bases. I wouldn't mind nearly killing a War Prism as the army gets spotted here. GuMiho realizing there are 4 Colossi. Oh, the War Prism is going to go down. A couple of those Stalkers don't even make it out of there. That's a great catch by those Vikings. But it's going to be a force cancel on that base. Some storms go down. Not the best storms in the world. That one's a juicy one, though. And NightMare is pushing his way into this base. He's up 60 supply. SCV's going down. This base is in danger of going down. GuMiho's got one chance. He needs to demolish this army. But I don't know if he can do it even with this massive surround. There's just too much Protoss here. And NightMare is going to clean the floor with that bio as GG gets called. NightMare taking down some old school fan favorites in this bracket. First, taking down Stats, and now GuMiho. And NightMare gets into the round of 8.